Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Monday Memo. Now I'd like to share some thoughts on a subject that a lot of us might have found ourselves in already or will probably find ourselves more increasingly involved in. And that's around how to get the most out of being part of a global finance team, particularly if you're a leader and you've got team members dotted around the world or you're looking to set this up. I've been doing this, oh goodness, for at least a decade now and made a few mistakes, got a few things right. We've had some great guest mentors on the show as well that have shared their lessons as well. So I think if I could sort of formalize maybe 7 tips, that might be useful. And I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I mean, particularly given that we've got so much finance talent around the world, I think it'd be a shame not to have leveraged that to its best ability and help people reach their potential, become more influential, and have meaningful careers in finance whilst also making a effective impact for our organization's bottom lines. So the first one is we always got to come back to the organization itself and ensure that we're delivering for it. So I call it like, have we got coverage of the various time zones so we can be responsive? So that might mean, let's say you've got a corporate HQ on, say, the east coast of the States. Then if you were to place team members, say, in Europe or Eastern Europe, would they be able to service that HQ? Or let's say if you've got customers sitting out over in Australia, then how would you ensure that you could cover those customers with, say, in a working day time frame, let's say 8 or 9 hours? So that would mean you'd probably need to have resources either in Eastern Europe, Africa, Middle East, India, or perhaps on the west coast of the States as well. And I suppose there's also that opens up the opportunity for cost savings, so that shouldn't be the driver, but generally it is. And you can potentially save between 50 to 70% of the cost depending on how you want to drive the mix of your team. And again, coming back to the customer focus and that time zone coverage, if you're suppose you're supporting things like sales teams that are very much customer focused and geographic centric, then I'd suggest if they want to have that finance presence, then in theory you should be driving that value for them. So if you're driving value for them, then perhaps they should be paying for those finance resources as well to be located maybe in those higher cost customer facing type locations, or geographically anyway. Then the next point is that when you're setting up teams and they're dotted around globally, is also to try to have them in the form of a type of a hub, which means that they're not like isolated on their own, that learnings can be shared across other team members, particularly if you're looking to recruit and develop people so that they have a more sustainable future and a growth path within finance. And it allows you then to pair up and then have staff mentored, but also gives them the opportunity to network across the hub itself with other teams and organizations and learn from them as well. So I always encourage the setting up of hubs. So like for instance, I would have like a data management, a data science type hub. I might have, say, a bid desk hub somewhere else. I might have like an accounts hub in another country. So you can build those centers of expertise and grow them. And I'd also sort of encourage that in terms of that networking and influence is to spread that knowledge base across not just that country hub but also across peers around the globe, because that is the essence of what you're trying to do, is bring diverse views, opinions, thoughts to drive better decision making. Also, as leaders and even as finance professionals, it's important to have regular one-to-ones. I'd schedule those between half an hour to an hour every week, between sort of the middle 3 days of the week as well. Just because in most countries the working week is Monday to Friday, although then coming back to customers, we've got some teams that work Sunday through to Thursday, and that is an advantage because let's say the HQ likes their reports available on a Monday, then you've got all of Sunday to troubleshoot if you have to. So it's actually a nice value add to have team members who are flexible to work on a Sunday because it's part of the regular working week. And then a key point made by a previous guest mentor on the show as well, that I completely support, was you've got to get out there and develop bonds with people locally. So you have to be willing to invest, a week in that location, depending on how many people are in the hub, at least every quarter, at least twice a year, so you can develop real human being type relationships. And that is often missed, and the excuse is that finance shouldn't travel. Well, typically speaking, if you're going for lower cost locations, there is room within the budget to afford this, particularly if the team had been all located in higher cost before. And it actually also adds a bit of fun. You get to experience new cultures and enhance your own thinking and challenge your own biases as well. And then, just in that vein, from a leadership perspective, I'd probably then go on to encourage that it's important those out in those locations, dotted around the world, in those hubs perhaps, know who they're working for within finance, appreciate their leadership. So it's very important that the senior leadership in finance is bought into this. So I heavily encourage skip levels, so that, and they just don't have to be every week like the one-to-ones, but maybe once a quarter or twice a year, where the people in the remote locations feel interlocked with leadership and finance, that they're at least visible to some sort of degree. And again, that balances the need to travel versus not. So some of those skip levels can be done by people traveling out as well, but more often than not, they're quite successful if they're just done over the phone too. And then finally, I think transparency is key. Giving people transparency into the clarity around their career paths and the potential opportunities either within that site or also within the broader team or the broader peer network. So there's that opportunity for growth, but also on a day-to-day level. I like people, as much as I suppose there's always a risk that when people are remote, there's always that concern they're not going to be working and delivering outcomes. So I guess the key is to foster a results orientated workplace environment, and also be transparent around things like calendars. Every member that works with me and around me peer wise has full transparency in my calendar. They see what appointments, who I'm meeting. If there's something's private and confidential, I'll mark it that way. But if they need to find time with me, and again that could be tricky because they can't see me working at my desk all the time, or if I'm out with a partner, they know then how to factor in that time to have a quick chat, and always have the option of having an urgent, if you need me type scenario where they can contact as well, because they can't just pop over to my office if they need me. So look, I hope you find those tips useful. Would love to get your thoughts on this post as well, if you did, or if you got any others to add. And I really appreciate you investing your time with us today. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and let's keep on building the strength in the numbers.